Davenport et al. 2006 is one of the first papers I actually read, maybe the second or third paper, and it's quite interesting. It doesn't look at sheep, but looks at monkeys. So this paper looked at taking hair samples from anesthetized monkeys for cortisol assessment, and also tried different wash preparations. So tried out different methodologies for monkey hair. Just a bit of the background, as I mentioned in the previous video, Weaver et al. 2021, blood samples are the most common sample type. Blood provides a point sample, so that sample reflects hormone levels up until the point of collection, which can be an issue for wild animals, as I'll discuss in the next paper, because the act of restraining can actually confound results, because stress can be induced, the HPA axis could be induced if the animals are trapped or handled. And the third point there says that urine and fecal cortisol rather provide a longer history, about 24 hours, whereas blood is sort of a shorter term reflection. Findings of this paper include that repeated washing 3 times using methanol as the washing agent resulted in the cumulative loss of cortisol. So each wash, more cortisol was lost. And when used isopropanol, the loss of cortisol peaked at the second wash. So ideally, it may be best, in this particular case at least, to use isopropanol. So this, maybe this isn't directly relevant to what we're looking at in wool, in sheep, but it's something to think about. And you've also justified your methodology. Pardon me. And they also mentioned that rather than using just scissors to mince the hair sample, it's best to use a ball mill, which basically grinds up your sample very finely into powder and increases the surface area, and it also increased the cortisol yield for their assays by 3.5 times, which is quite high. Something else that they measured was they took a hair sample and broke it into 2 parts, the distal and the proximal part. So one being closer, one being further away from the skin, for instance. And there was no statistical difference. In fact, the samples are nearly identical with a nearly perfect correlation. So direct relevance to my project is that isopropanol may be the best wash for hair, at least in this case. It's ideal to use a ball mill, which I believe I will be using. Hair and saliva cortisol are related. That just provides more accuracy and more confidence to our method, which was at least for a little while a novel method, and now it's being proven in literature. And there's also evidence that, importantly, that cortisol is retained in hair for long-term assessment. And that's that paper done.